Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Caroline Livingstone, and I'm the General Manager of the Begbroke Science Park. So I'm the first of a very small group of speakers from the University of Oxford who are trying to give you a bit of a flavour for the range of innovation activities that are taking place within the university and our role within the delivery of innovation through into the economic growth of the county. And to steal Bob Price's comment about small city, big impact, Begbroke Science Park, small site, big impact. So, what is Begbroke Science Park? For those of you who don't know, we're university owned, fully owned. We have about half the site is university research groups from the science and technology parts of the university, and the other half is start-up and spin-out companies which may be from the university or may be attracted to the site and not really being from the university initially. So we're about half and half. We've got a really nice range of technologies that I'll come on to. And the whole idea of the site is that we're at the extreme end of the technology continuum. So if you think of the continuum from the research bench to operating and commercialised technology, we're about as far away from research as the university goes. So the site has been owned by the university since 1999. We are fully embedded as a department within one of the academic divisions of the university, so you can't get much tighter than that. And on site we do an awful lot to make sure that the disparate communities on site talk to each other and are well recognised and know each other in order that the technology can move from the bench out to the commercial sector as quickly as possible. And this is what the head of our division says about us. I won't read it out, but we are part of the Maths, Physics and Life Sciences division of the university. The sorts of technologies we have on site, so here's a few of them. We've heard something about the different sectors in the county earlier on, so you can find pretty much all of those sectors there. If we overlay it with the government's 8 great technologies, again, you can see reference to a lot of the 8 great technologies there. That isn't exhaustive by any means. It's a flavour, and it's a flavour of some of the research groups that fill in those areas and some of the companies that sit in those areas. So our approach of bringing together the academic sector and the business sector and trying to operate at the interface that these two communities act has been very successful. We've had research groups that have come to us really very early stage, just trialling pieces of equipment and ending up growing off and becoming research institutes all of themselves. So we've seen the robot car advertised around the county. Driverless cars are now something that's normally in our vocabulary. The mobile robotics group from the university came out to Begbroke when they were just running a little robot around and seeing whether or not it worked. It's now a car that's driving on the roads, and we played our little role in that. 85% of the companies that have been through us on site still remain in the county. We've had over 100 companies in that time. The OMCS is the Oxford Materials Characterisation Service, which is one of the university materials characterisation facilities. They're open for business. Companies can bring samples to the service and they will analyse those samples and they either let people come in and work on the machines themselves or they'll do stuff for them. But there's very close interaction there between businesses, business needs, technology. So it's an excellent way in to some of the research facilities. We also don't just worry about the research and the companies. We recognise that actually in order for these companies to grow and for us to have some sort of impact on the economic delivery of the county, we also need to bring through expertise from the schools and the colleges. So we work very closely with colleges, with schools. We run schools events. We try and encourage people to stick with the STEM subjects. That's not about people coming to Oxford University to do their study. It's about encouraging people to stick with STEM, because if they stick with STEM, they'll feed into pretty much all of the other business growth areas that we need. So some of the success stories. I've mentioned robotics. In terms of the companies, this is just a small selection of some of the companies that are either on site or have come through site. So OGT, one of the companies up there, they're one of the world's biggest gene technology companies. Oxford Nanopore are on there. They came to us with about 6 people. They left us with about 7. They're now at Oxford Science Park. Oxford Genetics are just coming through at the moment. Oxford PV are another company you may have heard of. They've grown enormously. They started as one person coming onto site. There's now about 40 of them on site. And the technology that they're developing is being chased all around the world, so they're working hard to stay at the forefront of that. I won't go through all of those because there's too many, but the range of technologies that we look after is evident there. What's coming next for us? We're in the process of building an expansion to our incubation facilities. So on this side here, we've got the artist's impression. In July, we open the real thing. We're taking reservations. It's mixed office and laboratory space. We often hear that the county's desperately short of lab space. We're opening some in July. Please speak to me. And if you want to have a sort of a pre-completion, have a look round on an open day. We don't have a date yet, but please shout there. We're on one of the stands outside, so if you see either of these, please pick them up, have a look at what we do, and speak to me. And I'll move over to my colleague who's going to tell you about another little bit of what the university does in the innovation sphere.
I don't know if that's working. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, that one there.
Did you turn it on?
Yes. Perfect. Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Chandra. My work here at Oxford University involves commercializing research from the university. What does that mean? I guess the thing that's, the topmost in most people's minds is spin-out activity, for example. ICES has had about over 100 spin-outs over the past 30 years. Those spin-outs have generated good wealth for the economy. About £400 million a year comes out of those spin-outs, and those spin-outs employ about 5,000 employees, both locally and across the world. Another aspect of commercializing research is licensing technologies from the university. So that's licensing technologies coming out of the research, out of the labs, to industry. And I thought I'll give you an example of one of those technologies, because we have over 2,000 of them available. It's a project that I manage. It's actually, I'll give you a little bit of background about me as well in the process, I think. When I was working as a manufacturing engineer many years ago, I used to visit plants dealing with heavy metals. And you can tell that heavy metals are bad stuff. I'd go into these plants, and there were everyone working the plants. They all suffered from hair loss. It was really obvious that heavy metals are bad and pollution is coming from these plants. But you can't really do very much about it. Heavy metals in industry, what they normally do is they dilute it to safe levels and they chuck it out into the environment. So 2 years ago, I sat in front of 2 academics, Nick Hankins and Li Cheng Shen, and they said, we've cracked it. We know how to deal with these heavy metals. We can use a chemical that takes these heavy metals out of dilute solutions. You then take the flocculant, what settles away, and you can recycle it. So every time you run this process, it becomes cheaper. So for the first time, it actually becomes cost effective to remove heavy metals from dilute water. And I thought, I understand the research where they're coming from in terms of research. I understand where they need to be in terms of industry. I'll go talk to the companies. And I talked to the companies, and they said, fantastic. This is exactly what we've been looking for. But what you've shown me works really nicely in the little beaker. Does it work in this filthy effluent that I have to deal with? And I said, I don't know. And they said, well, it's going to cost us to find out, and I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable spending that money until I know that it's going to work. So what was my solution? I had lunch with Matt. Matt is responsible for, he knows all about funding streams in the university, and Matt said, I think there are a couple of opportunities here. There are certain translational funding streams, so funds that allow research to get developed for industry that we can go to. And I sat down with the company, with the academics, and we applied for some funding, and we got it. So that project is now off the ground. And that's just one of 2,000 projects. Now, if you come from a company that might be looking for new solutions, or please come and talk to us. We also have a new program for small companies, which in effect gives Oxford IP out for free for you to try. And then if it works for you, we'll help you get funding for the next stage of development. My name is Chandra, and I'm around for a little while after this, and please contact me or any of my colleagues if you want to find out more. Thank you.